Unbelievable. This morning, when I went to check the cage trap I had set yesterday, an unbelievable scene hit me. The drop door cage trap was twisted and bent in the middle of the clearing. To find out what had happened, I immediately reviewed the surveillance footage. Yesterday, a massive wild boar had charged straight into the trap, and just a few minutes later, it smashed everything apart before disappearing back into the forest. The trap was severely damaged. Standing there, staring at the destroyed cage, I realized something simple. The old method wasn't going to work anymore. And that was the moment I decided to switch to a wild boar corral net trap. The afternoon in Arizona felt strangely quiet. I chose an open patch of ground where the wild boars frequently pass through. It didn't need to be perfect. It just needed to be wide enough and enclosed enough so that when the trap dropped, none of them could break out. One by one, the net panels were raised, forming a large circular enclosure. Steel stakes were hammered into the ground. Sections of cable were tightened carefully. From a distance, it looked like a temporary fence. But in reality, it was a giant trap waiting to be triggered. In the center of the enclosure, I scattered bait. Not too much, just enough to make sure the entire sounder would step inside. Once everything was ready, I left the area before nightfall. From that moment on, everything would depend on the wild boars. Arizona at night sinks into near total silence. I watched the trap through the live camera feed, my heart pounding. After more than an hour of waiting, shadows finally began to appear in the darkness. They stopped at the edge of the trap. The lead sow took a few slow steps forward, sniffing the air as she moved. The others stood tightly behind her, waiting, cautious. The moment lasted only a few seconds, but time seemed to stretch endlessly. Then the lead boar took another step. The others began to follow. One by one, the entire group slowly gathered around the bait. The tension in the air grew heavy, and just when the whole sounder was finally inside, the massive net suddenly dropped. In an instant, the silence of the desert night was shattered. The entire herd panicked. Heavy bodies crashed through the darkness, hooves pounding against the ground. Some of them rammed straight into the net, as if one more blow could tear it apart. But this time was different from the cage trap the night before. The flexible net absorbed every powerful charge. Some of the boars spun wildly, searching for an escape. Others collided into each other, their cries echoing through the night. In the dim light, the entire herd looked like a single chaotic mass in motion. But after a while, exhaustion began to set in. The panic slowly faded. The wild boars were still searching for a way out, but the trap had completely closed. And this time, not a single one escaped. As soon as the sun began to rise, the handling process started quickly. This moment is critical. As temperatures climb, wild boars can experience severe stress or heat shock if the process is delayed. Every step is carried out carefully and under control, prioritizing human safety while minimizing stress on the animals. This is the final stage, the step that determines the true success of the entire control operation. Corral net traps are not designed for recreational hunting. They are part of a responsible wildlife management strategy aimed at reducing conflict between humans and natural ecosystems. By capturing an entire sounder in a single deployment, pressure on communities, agriculture, and surrounding ecosystems can be significantly reduced. More importantly, this method represents a clear shift from reactive responses to planned, proactive, long-term management.
trick.
How many we got?
Night falls over the forests of Alabama. On the surface, everything seems quiet, but beneath the canopy, a real threat is unfolding. Wild hogs. In the United States, they're classified as a dangerous invasive species. They reproduce at a staggering rate, competing for food and pushing native wildlife toward the brink of starvation. If their population is not controlled, the ecosystem here falls seriously out of balance.
Crazy.
Today, we are not using rifles, nor heavy steel cages. We chose to deploy the pig breed, my father, my most trusted partner, and I began setting up the net trap. A successful hunt or capture always requires seamless coordination. He drives in the anchor stakes. I stretch the netting. Discipline and precise communication ensure the trap functions perfectly. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than soft mesh suspended in the woods. But this is a revolution in wild hog control. There is no metal drop gate, no loud crash. We scatter corn, an irresistible bait from the outside, leading deep into the center of the trap. Understanding the prey's behavior is the key. Wild hogs naturally root their snouts into the ground to search for food. This net system is designed to exploit that very instinct. They can easily push their way under the bottom of the net to enter. But the special design prevents them from rooting backward or jumping back out. Getting in is easy. Getting out is impossible. "3 a.m. bright, eyes appear on the monitoring screen. A large herd, what we call a sounder, is approaching. They sniff cautiously, but the scent of corn is too tempting. The lead hog pushes under the net and enters. Then the second, the third. Suddenly, the air shifts. When the last hog slips inside, they begin to sense something is wrong. Wild instinct surges. They turn, try to push back through the net to escape. But it's useless. The entire herd erupts into panic. They slam into the mesh walls. Growls and pounding hooves echo through the forest. Yet the advantage of the pig brig lies in its humane design. There is no crashing steel gate to trigger violent shock or cause injury. The system operates steadily throughout the night, quiet and effective. At dawn, we drive back to the trap site. The sight before us is astonishing. An entire herd lies contained within the net. No matter how hard they ram or shove, the mesh functions like a giant cushion. It stretches, absorbs the full force of hundreds of pounds of muscle, then recoils, pushing them back inward. Capturing the entire herd removes a major threat to local residents and livestock. It also prevents the potential spread of disease. Nearby, our second pig brig system has just secured another massive group. Among them are well-fed sows weighing over 90 kilograms. A single sow can produce 2 litters per year, with up to 10 piglets each time. Capturing this group means preventing the birth of hundreds of piglets in the future, saving tons of crops for neighboring farms. And now comes the hardest part, loading them. Adult hogs are incredibly strong. We use specialized shields, pressing in carefully and guiding them one by one into the trailer. Standing in front of agitated wild animals demands absolute calm. One small mistake can lead to serious injury. A true professional is someone who masters fear and handles the situation decisively. The Jeep Gladiator truck rolls away, carrying the harvest from sight. The forest returns to its natural quiet. But our work is not simply about capture. It is about protecting farmers' crops and restoring living space for native wildlife. We respect nature by intervening at the right time to maintain balance. But this battle is not over. I look down at fresh tracks pressed into the damp soil outside the net. They likely belong to a solitary boar, old, cunning, and wise enough to stay back and watch last night's chaos without stepping aside. It seems next time, we'll need a smarter strategy. Like and share to follow along with us. I had seen wild boars caught in traps before, but never in numbers like that. That night, I understood something. When a net trap locks into place, it has a voice of its own. The anchor lines began to screech under tension. The entire net trembled. Whatever was inside thrashed wildly, hooves pounding, snorts bursting out in frantic rhythm. It all started with a patch of land torn to pieces. And from that moment, the story of wild boar control in Oklahoma truly began. I remember that visit clearly. When I stopped by Uncle James's place, the scene on his farm was worse than I expected. The lawn was churned apart. The soil flipped into heavy clumps. Everything was completely overturned from the quiet peace it once had. The marks left behind told the whole story. A herd large enough to sweep through in the darkness of the previous night. Neighbors said the Boars had been coming back for weeks, keeping the whole area awake. They tried turning on lights. They tried standing guard at night. They tried driving them away. Nothing worked. The Boars only grew bolder and smarter. The next morning, we started setting the trap early. We carried the net into the woods, dividing up the work, assembling it step by step. Each mesh square was carefully connected and secured firmly to tree trunks. It looked simple, but a single misalignment would ruin everything. When the trap was finally in place, all that remained was to wait. The Boars were led in by the one thing they trusted most: bait and habit. The lead sow appeared first, testing, stepping inside. Then the rest followed. They walked in naturally, sensing nothing unusual. The more they ate, the more confident they became. The more confident, the deeper they moved. The entire herd gradually advanced toward the center of the enclosure, unaware they were already surrounded. What impressed me most about this circular net design was that it had no corners. Easy to enter, nearly impossible to exit. When the Boars finally sensed something wrong, instinct took over. Run. They sprinted in circles, searching for escape. The scene exploded into chaos. But inside a perfect circle, panic becomes something cruel.
That's a lot of
They
pigs,
run
y'all.
along
Let's,
the edge, round and round, and round
dig it
again,
before they get out of
until
there.
exhaustion is the only outcome. The net was anchor tight. The stakes held firm. Every charge they made only sent the mesh shaking, never breaking. They could thrash, they could ram, they could roar, but they could not escape a system built correctly. And in that moment, I knew once a herd enters the circle, there's almost no way out.